My relationship with my intuition has been a full journey, a ride, because I feel like growing up I was really suppressed and I would not listen to my intuition. But it's kind of ironic because like the negative voice in your head, like what you tell yourself, all your fears, that's also a voice in your head.
Hello, my name is Annemarie, and you are listening to the podcast Biz on the Brain, in short, Business on the Brain, where we discuss how to realign your life and business to live your life and business more unapologetically and authentically yourself, to attract the right kind of people to you, to live your life much more fulfilled, and to really tap into the passion that made you start a business in the first place, and to keep in tune with your intuition and the flow, because we all know entrepreneur life has a wild roller coaster right in for you with lots of ups and downs. It's very dramatic. It's very intense, to say the least. And especially for multi-passionate and creative entrepreneurs, there's a lot of drama involved by trying to create a kind of niche, but also not niching down at all, because you have so many interests, so many skills, and they all complement each other, and they're all really valid for self-expression, for incorporating branding and marketing that really stands out. And the most important factor that makes you, and that separates you from all of the other people who kind of offer what you have to offer, is yourself. I want to introduce to you Melody Joy, who is a coach specializing in tapping into your own voice, be it for singing lessons or speech training, but at the core level of how to express yourself authentically as a future leader. If you want to be in a corporate role or really step much more into like a boss lady moment in your business and own your story, your voice, and be really confident, assertive, but also not feel like you're performing, but just really shining from within and attracting the right kind of people who resonate with whatever you have to offer, because you don't have to appeal to everybody, just the right kind of people. And it feels so much more validating if they like you for yourself instead of the persona you created for the sake of professionalism. That kind of feels a bit off, not so nice. So let me introduce to you Melody and let her explain to you what she does. I'm very excited to introduce her to you. Hello, Melody Joy. I'm so happy to have you here in this podcast. And I am super stoked that you are here specifically because you are all about intuition, especially in your business, where you help other people really find their voice and really step into their authority and passion and just genuine self through voice, because I think that is specifically with women a thing that we often don't do, because, well, we have to be silent, submissive, and listen, but there's so much power just behind owning that, and I love that's what you're doing. So would you quickly introduce what you do and how you did that, like how you arrived at that stage?
Thanks, Annemarie. My name is Melody Joy. I started a coaching practice to help women and entrepreneurs, or women who want to take part in a leadership role in their community, to step out, to share their own truth, their self-expression, and through the power of their voice. So it could be through singing, through the power of speech, so that they can just show up as authentically as they can.
Why do you think that's important, to do that, to be yourself instead of just playing a role maybe, or being professional in the sense that you think is kind of dictated?
Well, I am a recovering people pleaser who all my life I've felt like a chameleon, and I, depending on what social circumstances I'm a part of, if it's with my mom and her friends, or with my own peers, or with authority figures, like I felt like I had to put on a mask, something that like I wasn't enough as I already am, right? So in order to feel like have a sense of belonging, to survive in the social setting, I needed to pretend or perform. It's still like an expression of myself, but it was me on guard, me with walls up. And so I find that through my personal growth journey, I figured out that I am enough as I am, that I don't need to pretend to be someone that I'm not, or exaggerate to be someone I'm not. Offer myself into the world, right? Like to help my community, to help people like figure out who they are. And so that's something that I've always been passionate about. To whenever I talk to anybody and they are going through something, I always tend to remind them that they already have everything that they need, all the ingredients that they need within them. And sometimes maybe they just need somebody externally to remind them, or to help them uncover the layers so that they can put those pieces together to create whatever they're creating in the world.
I love that. I resonate with all of that, because in my childhood as well, I always felt like I wasn't good enough, or I had to perform or overperform to some extent. And now that I got my ADHD diagnosis from last year, so many things just clicked and fell into place. And there's this common term in the neurodivergent communities, like masking, where you literally put on some form of persona to please different people. So you might have different personas for different people, and it's scary when they suddenly combine in the same room. You're like, I don't know how to act with each of you, because I mirror you, because that's what you resonated with. That made you like me, so I like myself when I'm with you, but I'm just you in a good performance. And it's so scary to suddenly unlearn that and realize, who am I actually? And it is some form of manipulation, but stemming from like fear of rejection. So it's not evil in some way, but it's just like starting with yourself. Like, who do you actually want to attract? Who do you actually want to be? And going back to yourself. So I feel like it's more of a coaching of the soul, and just being fortified in you're just enough. It doesn't matter if you're productive, whatever that means in society right now. It doesn't matter if you're hustling, or if you're lying on the couch, if you're just having a breather. You're still enough. It doesn't matter how much money you make or what people attribute and value, especially if it's your family, because you grow up with different cultural mindsets and familial history, and all of these pressures put on kids is ridiculous. And I wish more people would reflect on that and help each other out, and be like compassionate for others, to help them see that you're okay. You don't have to perform for me, and if I don't like all of that you are, then I'm still free to go, or just take you as you are in ways that feels good for both people. I feel that is really a very amazing business. So what made you start it? Because I guess when you start out as a people pleaser, you do want to help other people. And then when you have that shift of mindset, what made you think that you wanted to specifically focus on that and help people back where you were, basically helping them elevate onto your level?
I think there was one moment in time where it was like, so I guess take it back a little bit further, right? So I've always known that I wanted to be a teacher, a coach, and I never thought that I was ready. I never thought that I had enough experience, and that was like the imposter syndrome, the not enoughness that was holding me back. And in reality, I was already serving my community, and people who would end up having these conversations with me, and I would help them see like a slightly different adjustment in their paradigm shift, and just that one little piece of glimmer of hope can really impact and change their outlook on themselves and what they're working towards. And so I just decided that it was time that if this is something that I'm eventually working towards, why not just start? And why not just put it out there? Because I also believe in law of attraction, manifesting, and you have to completely align your actions and yourself with what you are working towards, right? So that's really why. And I the thought of if my younger self had somebody like me to help reflect and witness them and just hold space for them, that would have it would have helped me heal much quicker on my journey.
I agree. For me, I often catch myself when I write a blog post or like a caption on social media that I'm actually talking to my old self, what I wish I had known or what I wish someone would have actually told me. Because you can do so much self-reflection and relying on yourself and like practicing self-love and being compassionate with yourself. But it still hits different when there's external validation, especially from people you admire. And I don't think we're like trained or taught how to really hold space in the way that the person needs, not what you think they might need or how you would like to receive it, because everybody's different. And so I really like that you just started, because you're not completely there yet, and then whoever is at any point, right? We're always growing, we're always changing, and it's good that you're already a few steps ahead and you can already teach that and help people be on that same path as you, but like guided because you're already a little bit farther ahead. So you're teaching and leading more from an authentic eye level sort of position that doesn't put you on a pedestal or doesn't create such a huge discrepancy, right? Of like, I'm the expert, I need to know all the things, because that's kind of BS. And that's what bugs me with so many coaching, that they just have this kind of lack of intuition where you're like, meet the person as they are and not just apply your program to them and then make them fit the mold and then make them find someone whose mold kind of fits to them. But from a conversation we had earlier, you were also kind of criticizing that approach, and you're more intuiting in the first call how they could work with you and what they might need, you know, be it vocal coaching, be it singing. So how do you approach that? How do you work intuition in, and how do you communicate that to people? Because it is a bit scary when you go to someone and they're like, oh, I just feel it out. And you're like, oh, what is that?
Right. It's just like going into this conversation with you. I have no idea. We have like nothing planned, but we're just feeling the energy of what needs to be shared and what needs to be said. And similarly, when I'm taking on consulting with potentially new clients, it's like I go in with the intention and the energy that I have something that I can hold space for them, I can offer. And if anything, it's just a witness of them, encouraging them to be authentic, right? Like to love themselves and to like share their piece, and that it's like unconditional love, right? It's just holding space and just completely adequately accepting them for who they are naturally, not trying to see what's wrong, not trying to fix anything. It's just being there, right? Being present.
I love that. That is so powerful. It's like a childhood core wound when you're not being seen or heard, right? And now you have someone, and then you can just soundboard, and then they will react to what you need.
Yeah. And so then I just have to have faith that intuitively whatever I need to be sharing with this person in front of me gets downloaded. And sometimes it's not there. And sometimes I feel like I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. Like I have no idea. Maybe I'll start in this direction. And it's almost like a whole experiment of, you know, is this what I can offer you? Does this resonate with you? Let's try a different angle and a different approach. So every session is completely different. And I like that about what I do.
I like that too. I'm trying to get more into that direction as well, because I found that I work the best with just winging it. I used to be so clingy with my notes, and then I would tumble over them, and then I would stutter, and I would like have a panic attack. Like, I was so bad at public speaking in school. Like, I couldn't give presentations. It would just send me into a spiral. And then at one point a few years ago, I went on stage and I blanked and I was like, you know what, whatever, I'm just gonna talk. And that gave me so much freedom, where I was like, you know what, I already screwed up because I forgot it. So whatever, I'm just gonna fill the void with whatever's on my mind. And then people resonated with that, and I started to see that I do have experience, I have expertise, I can share. And if I'm like in the moment feeling out what people do, and then I also see their reactions, instead of just making that like, oh no, they're reacting to me because I did something wrong. I'm like, oh no, they don't resonate with that, they resonate with that. Let's just dive right in. Like, let's just make this a communal experience of sort, like an energy exchange, because they're here to learn something, I'm here to share. And if there's, my skill set is so broad, there's always something I can like cherry pick in the moment. But I have to be open for this experience and not be stuck on what I thought it would be. I think that is the problem. And I think also might be a problem with maybe clients who are seeking coaching when they expect a miracle scheme to work because they have all of the steps. And some people need steps, but then that's maybe not the best fit. So I think that's really a good sorting hat kind of system where you gauge if the flow is right between two people, right?
I like the sorting hat analogy.
Yeah, I like Harry Potter.
Me too.
How would you define intuition? Because I think that is the crux of it when people don't understand this process or are a bit scared of not seeing the end result because you can't grasp it. It's like stepping into a fog and trusting that the path you see will lead you somewhere, but you don't know where.
My relationship with my intuition has been a full journey, a ride, because I feel like growing up I was really suppressed and I would not listen to my intuition. But it's kind of ironic because like the negative voice in your head, like what you tell yourself, all your fears, that's also a voice in your head. And it's also kind of like nothing that you can actually, grasp onto, right? Yeah. So why not? Why not choose to listen to hope and faith and the infinite possibility of what you can accomplish, right? Like, why not? And that's kind of something that I had to decide, like proactively tune out or say, thank you for your opinion, inner critic. I don't need your input right now, but I do see that you're there. And then choose something better. Choose something that's more optimistic. And definitely when it comes to intuition, it's like, it's usually not there when I feel like I need it. And it's like there when I'm completely in the zone, right? Like if I'm feeling really creative or feeling very empty almost, right? Like I let go of a lot of things and then the intuitive voice comes booming. I'm like, okay, this is what's next. And I think it's just like anything. It's kind of like a muscle that you have to practice. Yes. Getting back in tune with your body, getting back in tune with mindfulness, of just being aware of, okay, why am I being autopilot? Why am why did I decide to, go to this place? Yeah. And kind of just follow that, because you never know. And that's what I've discovered, that sometimes I can have fun with my intuition, and then a lot of magical things kind of happen, right? Like bumping into a friend that I haven't seen in a long time at some place that we've never really crossed paths at before. And just like totally random.
Yeah, I love how intuition works like that, where you just really don't know what the heck is going on, or you're just chilling and suddenly you have this download and this sudden burst of inspiration, and you kind of have to act on it, just like jump on this kind of river cruise where I don't know where it's going and the speed is always different, but you're just like winging it in that way because you're just in for the ride. And it can be scary at some point where you say, with the autopilot, when you start to ask, why am I doing this? Almost like you're waking up, and then you have to make decisions every single moment until they become a new habit, where you're like, I could paint the worst case scenario in my head, and I can let my anxiety win and go all the different ways that things could go wrong, or I could just start to do the opposite. I'm like, what could go right? And then focusing on that and shifting your vibe, shifting your body language, shifting how you approach people or see opportunities, or all of that is a muscle. And that is one reason why I started this podcast, because I felt kind of out of tune with intuition, where I became too analytical in my head. And so, yeah, because I am very over analytical. I'm very also brought up like that, where you're like, oh, don't be impulsive. You have to overthink it, you have to sleep on it, and then it just fizzles out. And then I never had the drive again, and I couldn't understand it. But people were just, cautioning me because it worked for them, or maybe they were scared for me. Because when I go hard. I will like hyper focus. I will like just hold myself up and like beat something out of like nowhere. I just like write a whole bunch, like a book. I wrote a book in a month, right? Stuff like that. That was like a tight deadline. I was like, I'm on it. And stuff like that. It's just when you need to know yourself. For other people, it works like day to day, chipping away at something. For other people, you need to be driven, and you need to really know yourself. And that's part of the intuition, where you're like, I don't know what to expect. Let's just listen to what makes me feel good, what gives me this kind of happy feeling, content feeling, that you're like at peace. And then you can see how you feel and what gives you that feeling, how you can go from there. Because you can't just predict, okay, let's just go do my walk and now I have to be inspired. That's not how this goes. You can't force it.
Right. You really can't. And that's something that we really have to cultivate. And that's why I do believe that daily meditation, daily mindfulness is like a key point to cultivating your intuition. The less you try, the better, right? Like,
yeah, self-acceptance almost, where you surrender. You're like, like in Taoism, where you just accept it. Be like, what is that? Be like the grass, like the bamboo. Just like, I love that. Like, I always love that. Exactly, go with the flow. Just like, don't have expectations of sort, where you just let it go. Like Elsa, let it go. I'm not gonna think. So do you have like an example of some kind of meditation or some kind of mindfulness practice that you can recommend people, or maybe something that you do with clients to like center yourself?
I find that, I work with a lot of clients that have a lot of anxiety or are feeling really introverted. And so it manifests into social anxiety. And what I like to tell them is any time that they get to that point, to slow down and to like feel their five senses. Like in the moment, what is it that they can see, hear, feel, touch, smell, and just like take a moment, take deep breaths. Breath work is also great for that. And so another exercise I tell them is like to look up bellows breath. And it's like taking 12, like inhale, exhale, but it's like really fast, like almost like hyperventilating on purpose.
Oh, okay.
And so the physical reaction is that your brain is focused in on, I guess, the tingling sensation that you get from inhaling and exhaling so fast. And then you're left with a whole sense of calm. And it's a really interesting sensation.
I have not tried that. I always know like the calming breaths when you hold it and then you exhale slowly and inhale slowly and hold it. But sometimes I need a bit more energy. I don't want to be calmed down so much, right?
Yeah, so like back in college and high school, whenever I would pull an all-nighter and I would feel really tired, I would do bellows breath. And so basically you would lift your arms up.
Okay.
So you'll just go inhale and then exhale, right?
Like
so
a jumping jack.
Kind of, but you're like sitting, right?
Okay.
So it's... And then
It's
you
like
do
you're
that
lifting
for,
something. Okay.
yeah. So you do that, and then after a round of 12, you kind of like tune into your body. What does it feel like? And eventually, like, you kind of get more energized, and then you kind of feel a sense of space.
I love
Which is
that.
nice.
That is a good exercise. I need to try that.
Yeah, let me know.
And what other tip would you give people who don't know where to start with intuition? Like, they've done some breath work, they've looked at all of this, but it's just really, how do you practice it daily in your life when you're not doing the exercises right now at this moment? But like every moment you get to make a choice, like we said, right? You get to choose, do I want to do this right now? Do I want to self-reflect without getting too much in your head about it? That's always my problem, where I'm so critical and over analytical and so reflective that, again, I'm detaching myself from my body, and I can do the exercise in the moment, but then I'm still back in my head.
I think that it depends on who you are, right? Like,
Yes, true.
I would encourage people to experiment with it like a game, like, today I'm following my intuition, right? Like, it's a day off, and I want to see how much fun I can have today. And so
That just triggered, sorry, I didn't want to
Yeah.
interrupt you. But like someone said to me, maybe do it like a game like that, where you just like, you pick a color and then you go outside for a walk, but you follow that color. Like wherever comes up, like a red car, you follow that car, and then you see a red light, and you follow that red light. And then, just like do something like that.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's something similar. But I do have this friend who literally would not plan anything in his day and then just follow his intuition and see where it led. And that was his practice. And then, sometimes he'll end up at a dance floor. Sometimes he'll end up at a bookstore. Like, he followed that intuition with the intention of like, this is my adventure for the day. And see how it turns out, kind of thing.
I actually like that. That's actually what I do when I travel. But ever since the pandemic happened, I haven't really traveled as much, and I felt like out of whack. But that was always my approach. Like anytime I would be abroad, even if it's in a city I know, I would just start walking, and that's it. That's the goal. Just walk, and then I just like turn right if I feel like it, or turn left, or like go into that building, or like go up that hill, or just absolutely no research, absolutely no expectation, just having like a backup map on my phone just in case. But I would go and then see what happens. That is really the approach I love. But I find it so hard to integrate in like a day-to-day where I'm like, okay, I have like 30 minutes, you can walk wherever, but like just for 30 minutes. I don't know,
Yeah. My mom does this thing where she is very intuitive at finding the best sales and bargains at like a store.
Okay.
And she won't go shopping until her intuition is like, okay, now's the time your sweater is on sale. Like,
What?
Yeah. And
That is uncanny. I love that.
and it's happened multiple times where it's like, she's been eyeing something or thinking about something, doesn't check, doesn't even shop online or anything, but then she's like, okay, now's the time to go. And it's like a specific location. Like, it's not always the one like in our neighborhood, right? It's like, it could be she drives 30 minutes to another department store, and then it's like there's just the perfect one that's like her size and her, like, just one left.
It's like she manifested it, and then she just listened to how it presented to her. Like, again, letting go of the control, because like, I want to go to this one H&M store and it better have this thing. No, you just like, I want to have something, this thing, and then just show me where I can get it.
Yeah.
What else did your mom teach you about intuition?
So many things. She really has guided me through being really specific and asking for what you want, but then also surrendering and letting go of the outcome. and that's probably the hardest part.
Yes.
Because it's like, I want it this way and I want it now, but that doesn't usually happen that way. I think really a lot of the things that I've learned is just through observing her and how she's manifested, prayed, written into existence a lot of her miracles. So
That is so inspiring. I love that you learned it through that. I learned it mostly through the online community, to talk about manifestation and how you do all of that. It's a completely new concept to me. And, you can ascribe it to like science, law of attraction, how you present yourself, body language, all of that. But I think it's just the underlying current. It's just believing that you can do it and then making it happen. And by believing it or, doing a little bit every day to reaffirm yourself and your abilities, or having other people affirm it, like in a coaching session, can really transport you to a next plane of energy or compassion and passion for yourself and your life. And I think that's part of the intuition as well, just trusting in yourself. Not even with a specific kind of goal, but just knowing, again, full circle, knowing that you're worthy of whatever. You already have everything that you need. You're alive, you're hopefully healthy, you just have family. There's always something that you can have or that you already have. And by believing that you're worthy of receiving it or having more of it or building on it and maybe sharing it as well, you can just foster that kind of good feeling and then inspire others, and just a snowball effect from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
One last question for you. I was really interested. How do you feel intuition and singing kind of come together? Because you use it in your approach. And I found personally from my stories, I always loved singing. It's one way I express emotions or tap into emotions and excite myself. But I was always afraid, still am, to sing in front of other people for fear of being judged. That is the way I cannot use my voice with people, because it makes me so vulnerable. So I think that is a huge part of limiting yourself. So how do you approach that?
Honestly, for the longest time, I never really thought of the link and the connection. And only recently, I'm like, yeah, it's just part of your expression and it's part of your way of communicating how you feel. I think that music is a universal language, and the emotion that you put into it can be felt despite what language you speak. And sometimes I'll get the opportunity to perform really randomly for a group of people, or I feel like a spark, a connection that just makes me want to sing. And, often it leads to tears, not on purpose, good tears, because I just happen to know what song reminds them of their childhood or reminds them of a loved one or something. And it's been a gift to witness that, or to be able to help them, I guess, let go of some pent-up emotion through music. But yeah, when it comes to, I guess, performing on stage and putting it out there, I think I used to have a lot of stage fright, and it used to be this need to be perfect, this need to be okay, your melody, you're about to step on the stage and you're performing, right? Whenever I led with my ego, then I wasn't able to give my best performance, right? Whenever I was able to be okay, use me as a channel to express this love into, the audience. And I hope that everybody receives this piece of my heart and my love. And I just let it go and let it be that way. Whatever happens, happens. Then I'm really able to, I guess, make an impact with the performance. And it's funny because we do have to prepare and learn the music, but we end up not having to try. Like we just let it go.
I love that.
It's weird. It's hard to explain.
No, but it becomes part of your muscle memory as well. But if you let it go, you also sing better. Like yesterday I learned about this technique that apparently Italian opera singers also use, where they stand on one leg so your brain is like focused on not falling and tripping, and so you can reach higher notes because you're not scared of the actual note because you're scared of something else. I don't know. That's what I
should
heard.
try
I don't know
that.
if that's true.
That's interesting.
But basically, singing is also part of overcoming fear, of a lot of different kinds of fear, I think. What I found, like so many song shows on the TV, Best Singer's Voice, whatever, they all are so critical. So it always feels like you have to be a certain level to even attempt to sing to people, because otherwise, why are you here? I think these shows kind of train this criticism into us to some extent, and certainly did for me, where I'm like, oh no, if I can't hit the notes, I have to practice, and then maybe I can sing Wonderwall. I don't know, where I'm like, who am I to sing a song if it's not right, But if you embrace just the moment and just transporting, being like the vessel, like you said, for the moment, and just share a tune. You can even be a bad singer. It doesn't matter because your heart is in. And there's successful singers who aren't like totally great, right? But they still sing from the heart. They write their own lyrics and everything kind of works. It's fascinating because you just gave yourself permission to do it, to suck, or like just be a vessel and be greater than what you are. It's not about just you showing up, having to prove yourself, but it's just like, yeah, I want to have fun. I want to inspire people, or like have this communal experience where we're all sitting around the fire and we're just singing badly and it's fun.
Right. Well, I mean, for a lot of people who come up to me is like, I wish I could sing like you. I'm a terrible singer. I'm not a singer. I often encourage them, like, just sing for the fun of it. Like tap into your inner child. And in a way, it keeps you younger. In a way, it keeps you happier because you're like, it makes you just share part of yourself or do what you want. Like, there's no rules. Like, who is creating the rules for what you can and cannot do? Like, who really cares, right? Like, so that's something that I also walk my clients through is inspecting what rules are at play in their life and who created these rules. Why are they in place? Yeah,
just like self-reflect on that, where you just art in general, self-expression. Why is there a censorship? Like, who says what is right and what is not good? Like, it doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong. Children don't care. They just play or they just draw whatever they feel inspired to do. And if you hang it up, great. If you don't, it's okay. But, it's just a form in the moment of just putting something on paper or like out into the world when you sing that just feels freeing, and it doesn't even have to serve a purpose. I think that is the crux of it. You just do it for the fun of it because you do it in the moment, and you don't have to monetize it. You don't have to make it into a mission or a content. Maybe it's just for yourself in the moment and proud of yourself, not of the result, but just of yourself. Mm-hmm. And where can people find you if they want to get in touch with you or see what you're up to online?
I have a Instagram and a TikTok at I am Melody Joy. It's like I am MELODYJOI, and I pretty much live there. If anyone wants to work with me, I have a Calendly that they can look up. It's just calendly.com/melodyjoy. And really, I love to get to know people. I'm not trying to, get 1,000 clients or anything. It's really just a matter of who needs what I can offer and how can I be of service.
I love that. So go follow Melody Joy everywhere and say hi.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being on this podcast and sharing your insights and your stories and being vulnerable and sharing part of your approach. Is there anything you want to add that we didn't touch upon?
I feel like we did a great job. We covered a lot. And I guess if anything, it's just to reiterate that your you're enough as you are. Like, you have all the ingredients that you need. And don't be afraid to experiment and to put yourself out there, because if you're afraid of something, it's likely that you need to get uncomfortable to get past that, to get to your next level. And it's just, you know, stepping out step by step so that you can build up your muscle, whether it's to speak with power or to sing with power. You know, it's all possible for you.
Exactly. You got to keep at it, you know, be kind to yourself.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you took a lot of it. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you took a lot away from it. I sure did. I had a lot of fun in this conversation, and Melody has such a soothing persona, such a calm vibe that is very different to my own. I'm very bubbly and energetic. And I really love that. It really shows how you should be absolutely authentically yourself. And that brings across your message much easier, with much more authenticity and coming from the heart, and is a great example of different personas, how they can show up, but also being yourself so you're not acting a role. And I cannot wait to share new podcast episodes with you, so don't forget to subscribe and follow me and Melody Joy on all of the links I provided down below in the show notes. If you want to say hi or leave a comment or slide into our DMs to ask for services or just to have a connecting chat, I wish you a fabulous week and hope I see you back or hear you back very soon. Bye bye.